Audiences come to spaces with layers of personal histories, memories, and expectations. Design infuses layers of pleasure in live entertainment to break open our tired hearts, release trauma, and experience true catharsis together. It's more than leisure. It's anonymous intimacy, a stasis imperative to society.
Hi, my name is Brooke Viegut. I'm a theater director, experience designer, entertainment professional, and now researcher. And I cannot tell you how good it is to be back in a theater again. Honestly, yes, please. I'd like to start out today by introducing you to Arturo Sanchez. On November 5th, 2021, Arturo Sanchez's life was saved by an off-duty nurse that happened to be attending the Astroworld Festival in Houston, Texas. Arturo was there, eager to see Travis Scott, one of his favorite artists, perform for the first time since the pandemic. Arturo went into cardiac arrest during Scott's performance. 10 people perished that night, and hundreds more were injured in a 50,000-person crowd crush. After the forced isolation of the pandemic, the audience at Astroworld and events around the globe are aching for a pleasurable, emotional release. Researcher and clinical social worker Brené Brown wrote, "A collective assembly can start to heal the wounds of a traumatized community." As a changed world now, socially, emotionally, and physically, we find new intrinsic value in these experiences than ever before. Humanity needs live entertainment to explore the pinnacles of rage, connection, joy, inclusion. But this valuable experience shouldn't cause more pain than pleasure. Considering that we are now a changed society, I had a question. How does the experience design of live entertainment be redesigned to prioritize social and emotional safety in a mid- and post-pandemic world? Today, we're going to dig into the few of the design decisions that make a terrific or traumatic audience experience in any medium, from concerts to conferences. Leaving behind the physical, my research explores design's impact on the social and emotional experience, prioritizing a safety that allows for pleasure and catharsis that entertainment is known for. It applies across mediums from audiences of 5 to 50,000. The experience is all designed for anonymous intimacy, that raw, vulnerable, emotional release that we can somehow only experience in the company of strangers. So, in February, I interviewed Jenny Weinblum, who's the head of studio at Impact Museums, who said this: "We're coming to this space to be awash in sensation, and that sensation can be most powerful when it involves true intimacy. Right now, there's an audience craving the opportunity to open up and feel their feelings in a manner that is less like going to the theater and more like going to church." Producing live entertainment is planning an ephemeral community. It's like building a little city. Every aspect of the attendee journey is designed, from invitation to aftercare. I think it looks like this. For our time together today, though, I'm going to focus on some parts of the audience journey that often get overlooked: the invitation, foreplay, rules, and aftercare. So let's go back to Astroworld. Astroworld is a multi-day music festival, the brainchild of rapper Travis Scott, and an event that sold out about 100,000 tickets in May of 2021. The impending tragedy arguably began with an invitation. Travis Scott posted to his Instagram on October 26, 2021, officially announcing the lineup for the festival. The caption, here in all caps, is clearly written in his voice, but I want to point out this bit at the bottom. It reads, "P.S. The show is sold out, but I finessed a bit more for y'all. Let's the ragers fucking commence." So, tickets sold out months ago. Finessed what? Are there more tickets? This post as an invitation is incredibly unclear about the rules of the event. The only clarity is in that second bit, the message to the audience as ragers, encouraging a culture of rebellion long before the festival begins. Priya Parker, who's the author of The Art of Gathering, repeatedly says that the invitation is the beginning of an event. It plants the seeds in your mind, and expectations immediately begin to emerge. In this case, the need to rage. So it's November 5th. The festival begins, foreplay to Travis Scott's performance. Based on some primary research and interviews with Arturo, his cousin Karina, who also attended, their friend, and a crowd safety expert, I've reconstructed the following. So, security allowed in thousands of people when the crowd stormed general admission twice that day, creating an unspoken rule set that the audience holds power over festival management, in line with Scott's rage culture and subversion of authority. Leading up to his performance, a 30-minute countdown clock built suspense, and the crowd, who had been waiting for hours, pushed in with the expectation that the show would begin when that clock hit 0. It didn't, sparking true, honest anger within the crowd. So, all of these choices, and many more not mentioned, create a culture of rage and a dangerous heightened crowd mentality. This resulted in a massive crowd crush that led to the deaths of 10 people between the ages of 9 years old and 23. This diagram here shows where 7 of those 10 bodies were found. The pink X, Arturo, was discovered in the midst of them, incredibly lucky to still have a pulse. Arturo's experience is unfortunately not uncommon. A wonderful place to release trauma, these venues are also historically the perpetrators of extensive harm. Attendees fall victim to everything from crowd crushes, crowd surges, deadly bombings, shootings, sexual assault, drug-related incidences, alcohol, and more. So creating a temporary community has its consequences. So, what would the front half of this journey look like if the community was built with compassionate or trauma-informed design instead? Untitled Dance Show Party Thing. This is a show on board Virgin Voyage's Scarlet Lady, one of the cruise ships in a fleet that Virgin manages. The show is Theater with a Twist, a dance show masquerading as a party. It has one of the most entertaining and exciting openings I've found in my research, and it's an act of compassionate design. According to Sam Pinkleton, who is one of the creators and a Tony-nominated choreographer, the most important thing in welcoming folks into this experience was to develop rules and expectations in a way that wasn't punishing to the participants. So they created Pixel the Cat. Meet Pixel. Pixel welcomes the audience in, encourages dancing, gives them the rules for the experience in a hilarious way that sets tone. So just to track, that's 3 parts of our attendee journey in 1 minute and 30 seconds. Remixed popular songs and a funny talking cat head encourage people to pay attention. By hearing the rules, they're agreeing to a social contract in this time and space. Sam passionately noted that at its core, this show is an act of hospitality, creating an inherent design framework that prioritizes safety in the midst of pleasure, empowering the audience, building trust and transparency to create connection and community. It's a sharp contrast to Astroworld. Participants I spoke with from both experiences had an expectation of joy, sharing collective effervescence with strangers. Only one of these designs, Untitled, managed to have every participant venture in and out, physically and emotionally unscathed. So let's skip ahead for the sake of time to the end of the journey. Most live entertainment takes you on this emotional roller coaster just to spit you out into the real world on the other side. This causes a psychological phenomenon first explored in 2020 by Leon Yap, that called it post-concert depression, an emotional crash that can last anywhere from hours to weeks following an event. One way to mitigate this might be aftercare. Just like the sexual response cycle, live entertainment activates our feel-good hormones in large releases. The following crash could be mitigated by design that lessens the impact of dissent. So, an experience I found that does this well is Under the Tongue, a hibernation temple and ceremony. The event was an immersive experience created by the design studio Nocturnal Medicine to support attendees' transition into winter in December of 2021. Occurring at Nowadays, a nightclub in Queens, New York, the design allowed participants to explore the space and participate in a group meditation and candlelighting ceremony. Pictured here. Following the end of the collective experience, creators Larissa Belsich and Michelle Shoffett told me they invited participants to gather outside in the yard around 5 lit fire pits. They were encouraged to write down what they'd like to release, participants were, and burn it as a physical way to let go of emotions from the evening. It was completely optional, giving participants a way to gently return to the real world, returning their agency to them, empowering them with choice to come down from the experience however they saw fit. Some burned paper, some chatted, others grabbed a drink or ate some food. Simple yet incredibly effective aftercare. Astroworld, according to Arturo's cousin Karina, didn't have any sort of organized aftercare immediately following the concert, pushing people out of the stadium in a rush to fend for themselves. It's a crucial mistake in the wake of tragedy. So as you can see, the experience design doesn't simply mean the design of physical space. It's creating a through line of social, emotional safety to prioritize the audience's pleasure. After all, without an audience, live entertainment is merely shouting into a void. There is much, much more to this work that we haven't touched on today, including a deep dive into the launch point and core action of an experience, or what you might consider to be the traditionally advertised parts. You can read about that in my written work. This research pulls from a variety of primary and secondary sources to create a vast framework for analyzing entertainment design. The journey, as well as the application of trauma-informed design, crosses mediums and forms, applicable to everything from raves on the bottom left to concerts, theater, immersive experiences, crafting parties, and more. One case study, pictured on the bottom left there, is Daybreaker, that intentionally designs joy as an early morning sober rave that occurs across the country, designing safe, exciting, pleasurable experiences for audiences of any size today. So I'd love to invite you to pick up a copy of our program and stay tuned for my class's written book that will be released later this year to read more about this work. You can also use the QR codes on the back of your program or check out our Medium page if you're with us online. Thank you for listening, and I will see you in the lobby afterward for a little bit of aftercare.